You are on.
Thank you.
We're live.
Okay. Again, I want to thank Kenny Cron, Richard Moon, Lauren Hare for their backup support on this, and Katja Simona, who does something around here. Uh, okay. I think we're listed tonight as Misogi. Misogi, cleaning the self. Okay. That's not meant to be a verb. I'm going to clean me. Uh, Let me lay out a big picture here, and we'll see if that helps. See this whole clear page? Okay. This page is creation. And you, as a best of yourself, fill this whole page. Okay. That's whatever names people want to give that. Your soul self, the ultra special, very special you, the most original you. Different religions will have different names, but I mean that sort of ultimate you. Okay. Uh, I am related directly, you, same thing, are related directly to this more ultimate you. So let me show you a bit uh, how that works. Okay. So here we are, this whole universe. And come on. And let's say this is the level. I don't know if you can see. Let's thicken it. Okay. Is that clear enough? Okay. Here we are in the human condition. Okay. Let me pause with that for a moment. Here we are in the human condition. And there's a little sense of something more. Okay. So the self is in residence, but because of how things work, and I'll try to show that a bit, because of how things work, we're kind of boxed in a bit in this human condition. We took up residence virtually in apes' human condition. My joke is if we could have gotten tighter in there, we would have, and we'd be rocks. Okay. So there is a piece of us that's directly in touch with the very advanced us, the very original us. Okay. Again, let me show you. We diagram that a bit. So, when the universe, I want to keep it just to the body character for this diagram. Okay. So let's say there's a flow of energy, and it flows, and there's an opposite direction, flows. Uh, so 2 count. We're going to use 2 counts tonight, and keep it based on the character, the body character. Explain that a little bit better. So originally, as the energies started to move, they were very fine, more than very fine. They were perfect, pure. Whatever word is better than pure. And they flowed and rebeat. Okay. Then let's say the next beat, they flowed not quite as fine, but damn good, and rebeat. And as it continued, they naturally got a little bit heavier, not quite as fine, continuing to rebeat. Now, as those energies beat, they got from very fine to heavier. Okay. And we eventually stopped at physical ape level, human condition, and we stopped there. And the energies that moved at that level mix up a body. Okay. What did I miss? that the beats are still going on. So right here, I'm in heavier, but those finer beats and finer than fine beats are still going on, but I'm in this level, this dimension. Dimension's a good word here. I'm in this heavier dimension of those beats. If I do things properly, I settle and open up, and the beats start to show a little bit better. They're not quite as heavy. As I settle and open, the beats that mix up and make up me are even a little bit better. So I'll go, for example, from a physical body, finer beats after a bit will be, gee, I feel like an energy flow body. We'll go to a better beat. Okay, so Sensei referred to this and parts of this with words like the echo theory, sort of echoes back and forth. He liked the sense of this breathing. So he'll mention a great breath. Exhales and it inhales back, and it exhales and it inhales back. So these beats, again, are extremely fine, and as they continue to beat, get heavier. I might show it like smaller, but I don't mean it's bigger, smaller. It's finer, heavier beats, okay? So the heavier beats fill that whole universal page, okay? And not so fine fill that page, and heavier fill that page. They're all going on, overlay dimensionally, all going on on the same page. Are we on the same page? Okay. So because of the way those energies moved, and because the original true self, soul self, whatever, because the original lost its fullness. We'll go into that another day. Why'd you do that? A little bit of a screw up here. And we got caught up in the energies going dimensionally tighter and tighter and tighter. And we lost the fullness of ourself. Okay. So in a certain way, here's where we are now, that dark piece. Okay. But it's still on the page. Okay. I used to call that a stringer. No matter how tight you get, you're still in relation. You still have a touch where you can touch the more and touch the more of yourself and touch the more of yourself. I hope I laid that out okay. Let me check with you like that? You okay with that? Okay. My audience of 2 says, yeah, all right. Okay, so we got, because the way the energies work, we got sort of spun in. And one way of looking at the game is we have to unwind. We have to unwind because we sort of wound in. We have to unwind. I used to show this back for Aikido people in the Turk Street days. I take 2 belts and twist them till they got very tight. And I'd say, there's 2 forces there. And in the middle of that twist, there you are. Now we have to untwist the belt so this piece of the big picture self can begin to not breathe, but show that it's there, have its sense of things. It's a whole other unit. It's not the energy mixes. It's itself. So I will, before we're finished with this, I don't know today, but to be fairly clear on the pieces. So I'm bringing up 2 very important pieces. The energies that make up the body, and related to them, but separate from them, is this self. Okay? Now, I is related to self, but it can be kind of tiny. Okay? Easy the I tend to say. What I'm trying to do with that phrase is easy the I so it returns back to the more of itself. Okay? When I say be aware or sense or play the game, there is more room. In more room, a sense of more room, the energies naturally open up, unwind, and gives more room for the core self. We'll start with that word because it's in use. The core of self to begin to come alive. It's alive already, but show itself, manifest itself, for lack of words, make its voice heard. Okay. So we got spun into heavy, and we're going to practice unspinning. Misogi is anything that helps that unwinding so that this truer self that's there, okay, can begin to show that it's there. The truer self, hanging out with itself, experiences itself, is aware of itself, okay? And that's not two beats. Self is constant one. But within self is awareness experience, okay? Self has its own, don't want to use the word energy because we use energy for the beats that make up the body, and later we'll talk about energy beats that make up the realms. And I don't want to get into realms today. Just two beats for the body. That this self is not those two beats of energy. It's in relation to them. As those two beats get better, there's a little more room for the self to go, oh, hey, I'm here, I exist, and sense things, can express itself. When I play games of what do you really sense, I'm not asking well, let me think about that. Your sense of self. I will get into that better. So here we are, boom, cocooned in, spiraled in. Because this covering of these energies spinning us in, I as self can't see clearly. I have a limited view of the world, okay? So in opening, in helping this self to move into a better level of itself, misogi, okay? It's already fantastic, but here it's not, it can't show. As we practice any kind of opening, it can show that it's there. That's misogi. We do not stay in a tight place with a can of Ajax and a brush and clean ourselves. Okay. Right. It's opening to that that's there. Sensei even said that if you do that kind of outward polishing, the shell there will get thicker. So in our heavier state, it's sort of the self is, there's a shell that forms around self. So self is at first like a seed. Sometimes we use those words. And as we easy with that shell, and that shell begins to open, the seed will show that it's there. Okay? This is a very, or I'm going to say a very important piece. This is the piece, okay? But we have to know a bit of how the energies work and stuff like that to facilitate the self being present properly and alignment, because they all have a relationship to each other. What I miss? Where am I? Okay, if you're following this, let's play a game. I'm going to just stand by your machine. Easy. Okay, just be here. Okay. Now, play the game. There's an energy beats down and it beats up. Okay. Easy. There's an energy that beats down. There's an energy that beats up. We call it its partner energy. Okay. Now, one of the energies playing this game, if we had more time, as your sense feeling these energies, not being aware of them, sense feeling them, as if you can actually sense feel an energy moving up easy, sense feel the energy moving down. If we were to hang out here for a bit and I asked you which one's feminine and which one's masculine, you would know. Don't know if you can pick it up right now, but if you continue with an upbeat, downbeat, or reverse it, downbeat, upbeat, you would be able to tell which one is the feminine one, which one is the masculine one. So the energies can take on that form, okay, or that reference. Energies beat up, energies beat down. If you like the other way, go for it. Energies beat down, energies beat up. Okay? Now, as those two energies harmonize a bit more, as she gets along better with he, at first they're like, it's like a dating game. They kind of check each other out, but they keep a distance. But as they continue their up, down, or vice versa beats, they get to know each other better, and they really want to get together. Okay, so we're relating to the universal dating game here. The great up, the great down. As they harmonize, and as you sort of sense them, you kind of feel when they're getting more balanced. Okay, if you're say your down is very clear and your up is kind of vague, well, then I would hang out there more till they both feel sort of clear. Okay, so sense feeling, you can feel the not the weight of them, but the you can tell when they're balancing. Okay, it's not just an idea. I presented the idea. Now these are the actual workings. The workings here. Okay, you're not meant to stay in the idea of it and become an intellectual a certain way. There's the idea, fine. I'm laying that out. Then there's the workings, which is what we're playing with now. An energy beats up and an energy beats down. And they're partner energies. And as they harmonize, in this case, they mix up a little better body. Okay? So it's like basic sex. Sex is a big thing for us in the physical world because it's based on this universal marriage, if you would, the great he, the great she, the great mother of creation, the great daddy of creation. So that interest for one for the other, that started very early in the game, and it's still going on here. You know, squirrel will chase around a she squirrel. I mean, they're all doing it, you know. Should I break into song? Birds do it, bees do it, whatever. Anyway, so these beats are natural. How they want to harmonize with each other is natural. It's easy. A little sense of a little more room can't hurt. Gives them more room to be fully there and express themselves to each other. Okay. As those two are allowed, you'll feel a certain level of balance. At that time, I switch for a moment. Okay, they're mixing, creating. I say mixing, oh, since they said recreate yourself. They're recreating you at this level. So if I were to check my body, for example, I feel a little hippier. I feel a little better grounded, a little bit fuller, a little bit stronger. Yeah, a little more here. What's yours? Okay. It's your body that's being mixed. What's yours? Okay. The energies that are mixing up and down are related to you. We each have, how to say this, our own personal assembly potential. If you mix up, you won't mix up a Gary if your name is Mary. Okay, I'm mixing up Bobby to Robert. You'll mix up whoever to whoever. Those energies are yours. They're not going to mix you up into a German Shepherd. Okay? They're your energies. Don't be afraid of your own energies. Trust your own energies because they want to improve. It's inherent in them to be at a better dimension and to breed, to produce better. It's inherent in the system. Okay? So often when I go from the known Bobby to the next, there's a gap there where I don't know who I am for a while. And I play the game, and after a bit, they mix. And then I feel myself and then say, oh, I'm not Bobby, I'm Robert. Okay? So there'll be take a pause. There'll be a gap when you move from that you know to this that at first is not known, but you just hang out and settle and let it do what it does. It'll mix up and it'll be proper for you. You'll begin to recognize yourself. Okay? A lot of people in their own idea think of themselves as being very, very fantastic people, but they haven't done this part of it. So you can go into real bullshit, going off on the eye can go off and make stories and get outlandish. We have to do the workings. So idea, yeah. Now the workings. Now the result. Are we okay so far? Okay, so energies that beat. Often they'll show it male, female, if you want to check them that way. And as they beat, a sense of balance, at which time I shift a little bit and say, okay, at this level of balance, who is being created? I wouldn't try to mix myself or create myself if I felt imbalanced. If my downbeat was very strong, my upbeat was it's kind of vague. I don't feel balance there. I don't sense a balance. I wouldn't want to say, who am I here? You don't want to, you don't want to breed a half-assed kid. My words are shitty, but the sense of this is correct. Okay, don't confuse the two. All right. Balance mixes up a better balanced character. All right. What can we add to that? Open up, ease the eye. If the eye is too small and hasn't started to settle to the more of itself, it can very easily interfere with this mix. It can critique it, or critique the characters trying to be born in there. It can not believe it, not play the game. The eye is very strong in killing this process. So easy the eye. Easy the eye. A tight eye can be a bear. Okay, got it? Later, you begin to recognize the difference between a better self and I. Very tight part of that. And that'll help because you'll know who's talking. You'll recognize the tonality. I might say, what are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Am I going to get anything out of this? And stuff like that. As the self begins to come alive, which it will eventually start to show, its tonality is so different.
How come we got kicked out? I don't know.
Voices. Are we okay?
We're fine, Sensei. Please continue.
Okay. Now, different forms. Again, I'm playing with two energies. Keep it simple. For example, okay, let's say in Aikido. Okay, here's how I like to present things following this. Miss Katja? Okay. Let's see. We do this one here. Stay kind of straight, don't introduce him. Okay. All right. So first, okay, easy. This is the form. Let the form form. Okay. And of course, brand new people have to be taught the form for a moment. Otherwise, you're going to get them to do, I do the form. I do the form. No, it's interfering. The I is going to interfere. Plus, you're going to misunderstand. I easy, so the form can form. As I easy, the form in more room, I being easier, the form naturally gets better. Okay. Now, as I continue, there are two beats. So one way of playing is there's a form beat and a flow beat, or frame and flow, form and flow, whatever word you like. So after a bit, as you settle and the frame work is not bad, it'll naturally happen that the flow form, the flow form comes in to play. I say something dumb there, like if he, this for me is a he, whatever for you, as he stands handsome, she, the energy flow, will come running. Not she, my she. Okay, we all right? So frame and flow is just, thank you. It's just one way I try to explain this in an Aikido class. Try to get people away from things that are going to forever interfere with this universal experience happening. Okay, that I taking things over is an interference. I open, I allow, and then the forces come in. All right, we're talking about first harmony here. As you get more harmony here, it'll probably show with a partner harmony. Okay, so frame and flow. And standing. Okay. Playing two beats again. You could use, for example, I've done this form a lot. Whichever you want. A great female comes down, a great male comes up. Here is mother, and then here is father. And by changing the words from just whatever we did earlier, a basic beat, might give me a little different angle, might change it a bit. So a parent beat and a parent beat. And as they feel more harmonious, beat, beat, as they feel more harmonious, they're mixing up this character. But because I use different words, the character may have a little different slant on things, okay, than just a basic energy up and down. See if I can explain that well. Well, in my case, mommy, daddy, mixes up, mixes up, mixes up. A character. Hopefully I can give an example if I experience this. This character. I'm a little clearer on the difference between male and, I know this is going to sound dumb, I'm a little clearer on the difference between male and female. If right here, I saw that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, is that right? Right here, I'd say, oh, of course. I have a sense of the difference between them. Okay. Dumb, huh? But you got to start someplace. Mommy, daddy, easy, mixes up this kid, this character. I should explain character a bit better, huh? This kid. Okay, what else besides that sense? This character. I don't know, some sense of harmony. There's a little bit of a natural beat. If we talked about things feeding, being in harmony, I would understand that a bit. I'd be sort of interested in that. So anyway, I didn't lay it out well, but take a break. But different ways you set it up could give you a little different slant. The character would be a hair different. It's still you, but a hair different you. Okay? Okay. So up, down beats, whether you call them he, she, mommy, daddy, whatever. Frame, flow. We're playing with twos. All the while playing with twos. Important to keep that, there's more room, a little more space. I don't want to converge and then tight. You see, the energies take advantage of that more space so they can flow better. They can dance together better. Okay. Osente talked a lot about the affinity between two energies. The love affair, the strong attraction of those two to each other. He used a lot of fancy words there, blank at the moment, but a real whomp after a bit. But there has to be enough room, okay, for those two to dance, for those two to make love with each other and create the character. All right? So we're just following the basic creation game. Old Shinto tried to show that with the Kojiki, the ancient chronicles of Japan, with Izanagi, a male, Izanami, a female, and they did something together and created the land of Japan. Male, female, did something together and created Japan. Okay. Just as an aside, Sensei said about Shinto, he said something like, didn't like to study it. I experienced it. That's why my version of Shinto is different than even the Shinto experts. I experienced it. They studied it, they talked about it, they thought about it. He said, mine may come out different because I experienced it. Okay. So he, like Shinto, gave him a map guideline, which he experienced the working, not just the idea, not just the concept. Okay. If I'm presenting concepts here, it's to help facilitate that you play with the workings, that you kind of know where you are. And of course, if we start tight, the tight one may not even want to do this. But as we easy, breathe a bit, I'll get into breathing. Anything to sort of start to open it and get the beats going, we're on our way, okay? The next level is more interested in playing games. Next level enjoys the hell out of some of this stuff, okay? And again, I'm getting ahead of you. You're not at the point where you're really enjoying this stuff yet, maybe. But I'm just pointing out a direction. As you continue, it gets easier, it gets to be more fun. The actuality of the breeding a character will become obvious even to you, okay? I was talking to Noah today, and he brought up a story about a student who was doing Aikido for a few months, and somebody at work, his boss, applauded him for how much easier he was to get along with in the last few months, and he knew it was from the Aikido training. Okay, that's where I want to go with most of you. To just be a better Aikidoist, well, that's sort of course that'll happen, but that's not the main aim. It's the process, so we can mix up a better you as, okay, what we're doing is making up simple games using two forces, where you're not that certain way attached to it. You don't have that much of an agenda about it. Like Katya makes me go for a walk now. Okay. For those of you that know me, I drive from coffee shop to coffee shop. Walking is not my thing. But she takes me for a walk. Okay. As I easy and just open for a few minutes max, suddenly the better walker starts to happen. And I love how it itself progresses every day. Something new gets added. And every day I can see the relationship with the new thing and the old thing that I noticed at that time. And the new thing is still utilizing that, but at a better level of itself. Did I say that? Well, that just to see these changes go on every day, I don't try to improve a lot while I'm walking. I just open, and whatever it establishes at first, I stay with that and I really experience that. So if it's a day where the system is a strider, then I just hang out with being a strider. Along the way, I clear and open, and boom, there's the strider again. So I don't try to get too busy. I'm happy with just one good set and one long walk, and the next day, clearing for that day's set, which turns out to be better than the first day's set. It itself added something. I love that. It itself added something that makes sense to me. Okay. When the hips start activating a certain way, that makes sense to me. It helps create a strider, which happens the next day, and on and on. I hope you're following this. Okay. So, energies. Back to Aikido, Miss Katya, can I borrow you again? Okay. This is a blending exercise. Boom, boom, boom. Sure. Boom. Okay. So now keep it simple. Thank you. Okay. So I play a twosies game, and this seems receptive, and this here seems positive. Okay, now I got my two beats. There is a receptive, pick positive. Okay. Now for the two tight eye people, I have to make funny faces here. I blend. I blend. But the two forces can't dance and create. You'll get a bit better, but it's sort of going nowhere. Okay. Since I should confer with him about the word sports, but he said Aikido is not a sport. Sports are okay, but Aikido is not a sport. Okay? So I would say right now, until I confer with him, we're an interdevelopmental art. As we let the receptive force and the positive force, easy, stretch it out. One is more male, one is more female. They mix up in more room. They mix up a better blenderer. Okay? Yeah? So I take basics of Aikido, find the 2 count, keep it simple, 2 count. Find the simple, like here, and its partner there. Watch out for the I. I do positive. I don't want you to do positive. I want you to be easy to allow positive. Okay? I don't want you to be receptive. I want you to be easy. So the fuller energy of receptive is there. And it'll tie in to its partner, the fuller positive. So I hang out there a bit till the receptive sense of a field and the positive sense of a field feel like they're equal. They're the same size. They have the same amount of aliveness. Okay. It's not just I do. It's I'm feeling this receptive. Easy. Clearing for this positive. I can kind of weigh them. When they feel more balanced with each other, then I may take a quick aside and mixing up on this lineage. He who blends, okay? It'll mix up a better blenderer in this case. Is that all right? Okay, merci. Ah, okay. What about different forms? Okay. Let's play with inhaling, exhaling, inhaling. Breathing practices. A lot of arts have breathing practice. A lot of arts of awareness, quote, spiritual arts. Don't know if I like that word anymore. Spiritual, misunderstood, could take us into something else instead of the actual here and now. This is how it works. I'm not sure I want to call that spiritual per se. It's just common sense. This is how it works. And it behooves me to be part of the working because I feel better, things happen better, and I'm following the path to my truer mission. Okay. Anyway, use whatever word you like. Breathing. Okay, so you're sitting there. Close your eyes. It's okay. And there's an inhale, exhale, exhale, inhale. Now, at first, at the level we're at, if you're still in the body dimensions, I exhale, I inhale. No, that's fine. We're at that level. If we were to continue, say, to a half an hour of breathing, inhale, exhale. After a while, the beats of out and in would start to feel in harmony. I think some of the yogic types control that a bit or get that to happen by counting 8 counts on the exhale, 8 counts on the inhale. After a while, they'll talk about there's a pause there when they're in balance. There's a pause. I don't know, a quiet space or something. I would move along with that and say when they're in balance, I could take a quick aside and knowing balanced energies, because that's what the breath represents, a bigger he and she. Balanced energies are mixing up a character with a core self, a breather, somebody in harmony, somebody who's calmer. Okay, so if you like breathing, play with breathing and you'll notice a change from I breathe to where this thing is happening. You'll even eventually jump into a whole other level of it where you're being breathed. Okay, or like I'm here, but something is breathing through me. It's not me breathing anymore. That's at the first couple of levels. Another level, it begins to change. You're into a different dimension of breathing there. Okay. And again, if you want, whenever you feel balanced, you can take a quick aside and do a quick assembly and just check who you are as a character. Okay. Be ready for even a bigger jump of that, where the whole universe is breathing or something. But again, I want to keep it simple to just 2 beats of this system. I don't want to get into the realm at this time. Character. Here you are, and you won't feel self at first because it's got a thick shell around it. But as you play, I think it's a good trick to acknowledge that there's something there. I even let people use the word core, even though for a lot of the exercisers out there, core is a kachawat, a physical plexus. Yeah, it's good structure and it's physical, and they call that a core. All right, we'll start there. But as you continue to open there and do something and then kick back the hair, after a bit, it's not physical, it's finer. You're moving through dimensions. And it's not just a physical grouping, it's another level of it. And as you continue, another level of it. So, so know that, but I still think we should acknowledge it. Okay. To highlight it, the beginning of Misogi, so that as we do whatever breathing practices, maybe chanting in a moment, anything to these, that whenever we have a balance, that tells us it's a good time, if you want, to check with who got mixed up at that level of balance. So one level of balance mixes up Bobby. A better level of balance mixes up Robert. But all of those should have an I am. Okay? So Robert, I am. Robert, I am. So I want to enliven, or at least start the process of, I'm going to say it like I'm enlivening it, but I'm just trying to get into a clearer zone where its aliveness shows itself. Did I say that okay? Yeah. The maybe more information than you need. The aliveness of self is different than the aliveness. The energies are alive a certain way, but the aliveness of self is a different texture. Remember, self is a different unit than the energy forces. They're in relationship, more balance the forces, more this can show. And vice versa, as your core self starts to come more alive, better the core self, naturally by law, better the energies are spiraling around there, mixing up a better character. So they're all in relation, they work in tandem with each other. Okay. Okay. What about another form of twosies? I don't know how sound will come across, but just to spark you. And if you have interest, then you've got all week to play. Chanting. Easy. Yeah. And at this level, I make the sound. Oh. Easy. Oh. That one surprised me. For example, the awe felt a bit bigger and the O felt in harmony, the same size. They felt in harmony, and it kind of caught me by surprise. Came in kind of fast. So at first, I make these sounds. After a bit, as you settle, easy the I, easy the I. Yes, there's still an ah. I'm on the edge of it, and I'm a little fast. But there's a sense of, did I make those sounds, or were they just kind of there? It wasn't so obvious. Oh, I make those sounds. Okay. I'm not even sure where they came from, but they seem to emanate. Almost seem to emanate a little bit before I made that sound. Was there something moving here that turns into ah? Something moving that turns into O? Okay, so that will be as you, if you're interested in chanting and you hang out there and just uh, if you're afraid of scaring your neighbors, I used to chant in my closet. Uh, okay. Uh, that after a while, again, when you feel the harmony, any place decent, if you want, you can say, whoa, that really feels balanced. Now at this place, boom, it's mixing. So represent a he and she. Okay. That's why I did two sounds instead of one, just to make it easier for you. Uh, two beats there represents he and she makes up a different character me. And ahing and ohing for me, for example, it makes up a character, just capabilities, well, vibrations. And that's sort of on the chorus. Daddy like vibrations, mommy like vibrations. Of course I like vibrations. That's a take that for granted. I like vibrations, well, of course. And what else here? Character. I like the word harmonic. Even though part of me doesn't know what that word means, I'm serious. I like the word. I like the word harmonic. Character. Ah, a little early yet, but I could see where I might be interested in trying out a glee club. Not quite yet. I can feel it surging. I'd like to hang out where people sing and that kind of happens. So again, every different combination of twos that you use, the character will have a little different angle on what it likes, what it can do. Okay. So within your own system, there's a lot of variables. Okay. So chanting, breathing, exhale. And again, it's up to you to hang out and spend time with them so that you'll naturally go through dimensions that should naturally happen. You can tell by the sound. Okay, let me change to just an ah. Ah. Okay, I felt that strongly here, so I could say I made that sound. That's fine. That's where I'm starting. I do. Okay, easy, settle now, though. Jesus. Easy. And the sound is oh. The tonality was different. I sensed like a little more softness. Could I say feminine? A little softness in there that I kind of like. So that's a bit of a change. Was that a dimensional change? I don't know. Whatever. We'll see. Continue. Easy, settle, open. Easy. Oh. Go on and on. But this came from not. I didn't make that sound per se. It started earlier, and I just went along with it with my sound. I wasn't didn't start here, and I decided to There's something formed into Okay, and again, if any chanting turns you on, that's up to you to practice and play with. Work the workings, hang out in the workings, let it unfold for you. Okay, if you continue to open, it'll go dimensional and show you more and more. And if you want to, every time you have a good balance, you can take a quick aside and check the mix. What is it? Who is it mixing up at that level? Okay, so a mix of two energies with a core self, some sense of self, as opposed to I. Remember, self, and that ensemble, that grouping, I call a character. Okay, And I won't get into the importance of it now, but it seems important. Oh, Sensei said to me, exact wording, but character is very important. All along the way, Sensei used that sense of character. So at a finer level, he had a different name for himself as that character. In his heavy physical place, he'd refer to himself as this old man. Oh, you mean this guy who's in ape world like the rest of you? This old man? So that was his Bobby. Okay. But as he progressed, if he said, Ueshiba of Aikido, watch out, there's a lot going on there. And if we're doing martial arts, you're going down. No question. So he had different names for himself along the way, repping for those characters or the name of those characters. I'm running out of time. Oh, it goes by so fast. So anyway, if you want to practice, practice. Yeah. You really have to practice. I'm trying to point out a direction. I'm trying to point out a couple of tricks of the trade to facilitate, but you have to practice. Oh, Sensei said to me once, and very strong in Nado, I want to give it to you, but I can't. You have to catch on. Okay. But I knew there was something great here, so I continued to play with the working. Okay. I couldn't just say, oh, Sensei, you got it, give it to me. Here, I'll give you a lot of money, give it to me. You can't do that. Okay. Right. So I'm pointing out a direction, but you have to play and play. And as you go dimensional, it gets easier and more fun and more exciting. Okay. Kini? Hello out there in the world?
Yep, we're here.
Lauren. There you are.
You're right on time.
Right on time. Oh, it goes by so fast. I hope this was okay. Well, we'll find out when we do our chit chat, huh?
Okay, thanks. We'll get back to you.
Okay. So much I didn't cover.